showcased.
Welcome everybody to another live edition of the Showcase Pod. I am Don Vega, joined by the boss Chris Blackheart. He's got a grin on his face. He's happy. And like always, we got a guest this week.
Not as always, but we got a live guest.
We got a live guest in studio. Former announcer for Showcase Pro, TJ Albin, now newscaster.
Yep.
So, welcome to the Showcase Pod, TJ.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yes.
Pretty awesome to be here, watching the pod. Well, mostly because of you. Mostly because you, because we're close. We're close.
Yeah.
Him on the other hand.
His microphone's always off, so.
Putting it closer to you?
Yeah.
Still ain't going to pick it up?
Yeah, slightly. Okay. Now, all jokes aside, TJ, like we always get started here. How did you get started, becoming a fan of pro wrestling? How did you get bitten by the wrestling bug?
Really, it's because my dad. My dad used to what was it? He used to work security for the PAL. He used to do used to work the detail for PAL, for Steve Ricard, for all of them.
Yeah.
So he used to bring me with him. I used to watch. I think I started watching in like 05, 06, watching all those guys, and like I started watching the indie stuff, and next thing you know, I got into like WWE. Like I was actually funny story about that. When I started watching wrestling, it was because I stole my cousin's old Hulk Hogan action figure. Like, do you remember the little rubber, like the little
rubber dolls?
the rubber dolls?
The glue ones?
I forget what it was.
You couldn't move their arms and legs?
Nothing. No, it was just like stuck in that pose.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
like,
that was my childhood. So
I stole that from him, started playing around with it. Next thing you know, my dad was telling me, "Holy yeah, we got all this. There's other stuff out there. There's WWE. There's the Independent." So it's pretty cool to kind of learn and see that, like, from a different perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
So going to those live shows at PAL, you remember some of the guys that were coming up around that time that you got to see? Or?
Remember Johnny Angel?
Yes.
Johnny Angel. What was it? Big Daddy Bravo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, who else? Stevie Richard at the time. Stevie Richard.
Yeah, you said mid-2000s.
Yeah, mid-2000s, yep. Try and remember who else. Mike Bennett.
Yep.
Taven.
No, I wasn't there at that time.
Well, there was a funny story how I first saw you
for
the first time. I think it was a summer showdown, a summer showcase, whatever they had, like during the summer. It was you.
Summer show, yeah.
It was you versus Craig.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing you, and me and a couple buddies were poking at you, and like it was just from there, like a year or two later, I met you guys at Showcase. Just from that following, yeah.
So right from that, obviously now you're older. You took an interest to wrestling. What made you decide to try to get in it and wrestle yourself?
Really, it's just I love the passion behind it. I love the idea of the storytelling. There's the physical stuff a part of it, but there's also the psychology. There's the emotion that you're getting into. Mm-hmm. You're telling that story. It's a lot of different parts and different ways of looking at the entertainment aspect of it. You look at WWE. A lot of people call it that drama, like that men's drama. Mm-hmm. Not to say it like that, but to kind of put it like that.
It is, yeah.
Everybody has their different dramas. Me, I love the wrestling drama.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So, was it what you was expecting when you first walked in the door, or
the first day?
Was it different?
Tell the feeling.
Well, for me, when I first started, it was a lot of different things going through my mind. It was like at the time when I first started training in 2015. I was just in high school. It was my senior year, and junior year. During my junior year, my goal was to have a championship in one hand and have my diploma in the other. And I always told people, like, I had that opportunity, but did I get it? No. Why? Because I broke my collarbone. But to get back to my first feeling of it, or my first reaction to the stuff, it was a lot for me, but I will say I did have kind of that practice into it with like going into sports, playing all the sports all my life. So I already had that kind of bug to, okay, I got to get better. I got to try harder. I got to do the best I can to make sure that I can stay on top of this or to keep a condition or a certain way of studying it. You know, like you look at football, right?
Yeah.
You look at football, you study the playbook. Wrestling is that same way. You got to study, and the more you study on it, the better you get at it.
Yes. Chris Blackheart. Microphone's working today, so.
All right, now, so you started training somewhere else. You got injured.
Yep.
You took time off.
Yep.
All right. What was your thought when you got injured? That you're done with wrestling?
No.
Because, and the reason I ask that, I always tell people you have to have a gut check in wrestling. Do you really want it?
Yeah.
I had that when I was young. I had a couple of injuries, and a lot of kids, you know, they get a little burn mark on their elbow when they're done. So I never want anyone to get hurt, but by doing that, it gives you perspective. Do you really want it?
Yeah.
So you broke your collarbone. What'd you say to yourself?
I still wanted to do it, you know. After I did it, I said to myself, when can I get back into it, you know? After a while, like, I wanted to, look, I tried getting into it, right? But then I also have to remember, it's like I still wanted to go to college, get a degree, which I did. And I did all that, and now I'm at where I'm at with my career. But at the time, studying, doing all that, going into college, I wanted to, like, get a grasp of that. And then once I was able to do that, then I can start going back into training, which took me a little bit. It took me a little convincing to do it. But over time, what was it? It wasn't even, at the moment, it wasn't on my mind. But because of someone like Dominic Damiano from 4 Deep Sports Talk, he got me back into it, which was connecting me with you guys. And that was actually really cool thing to have something in my degree connect me back to something I'm very passionate about. And I'm very passionate about wrestling. I love it. I watch it every day. I watch it as much as I can. I still study it. Like, you're never not studying this, you know what I mean? Even though I'm not training, I'm still learning the different things from watching you guys to watching everything that's on television today.
Yep. So, you know, you got your shot at doing some stuff in the ring, having a few matches, you know, then you kind of deviated to announcing and interviewing, which is something along the lines of what you're doing now. Talk to us about that. Do you enjoy that part more than the in-ring stuff?
Well, I feel like when you're the ring announcer, you're almost like the master of ceremony. You're always going to be there. You're that main figure. You're not just, okay, one match and then you're going to the back. You're a part of everything. You're a part of every story.
Yep.
So it's kind of cool to kind of see, like, as a ring announcer, you're there for any moment. You're outside the ring for every moment. You're handing the title to the winner every moment. You're talking to the different guys, which is pretty cool and was exciting for me to get the opportunity to not only train, to, like, do the physical stuff, but to also be able to still connect as a ring announcer to all these different stories.
Now, I'm thinking you were part of the COVID crew.
Yes, I was.
You were, yeah. You know, when COVID came around, we had to modify a lot of stuff, and the good part that came along is Julio came along, part of our team. It was a team of Mr. Hollywood, and then you came along as our on-air host, and I just remember 47 takes in the basement. Can you say the name for the people? Can you
God, it was Carlos, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Carlos Sullivan. It wasn't in the basement. It was in the ring. Well, I mean,
no, it was. I remember downstairs.
Yeah, they won downstairs, and then it was in the ring.
Oh my God, that's right.
Downstairs, like an hour and a half.
Yeah, we did the downstairs because we were trying to shoot those pre-take interviews.
Yeah.
We were doing that, and then there was it was Carlos's opponent I couldn't get because he kept coming up with these different ring names. I forget what it was, but anyway. Kilgore, yes. Because Kilgore kept whispering to me, like, all the different stuff. Yeah. So that threw me off. And I'm trying to remember, okay, Slavin. Yeah. And we did the multiple takes for that. And I remember you running out, God damn it, kid, you're killing me.
Yeah, we tell that story all the time.
Yeah. I mean, now, you know, comparison now, obviously you do more live stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's a whole different ballgame. You only get one shot to
Very
get
different.
to get it done. So, you know, you got to stay on your toes. But going back to the whole ordeal, how does it come about? After that, you know, we go into regular shows. You did some stuff there. We did some live events, and then you started deviating to doing what you're doing now, which is, you know, the news.
Yeah, how did that resume look like? Did wrestling help you when you put that on your resume?
Not gonna lie, yeah, kinda.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Nobody admits they like it, and once they see it on a resume or conversation, people are like, huh, what?
Well, that's my thing, is that I always looked at wrestling kind of as like that hidden thing. No one ever wanted to talk about it. But now, like, I feel like in the media, that's all I talk about with people.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people I work with love wrestling. Or they just kind of hear about it and they're like, okay, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah.
Or what are you guys talking about? You know?
Yeah.
But getting back to the industry I'm in, with like the communications I studied, like going from literally Nesson to ABC6, just like from the time I had with wrestling during all this, it's pretty cool to kind of connect that. For me, it was really cool to connect it from doing the 4 Deep Sports Talk stuff to that. So when it comes to my resume, yes, I put like the wrestling stuff. I put Showcase. I put New Age, actually, surprisingly, on a couple things, but not really much.
Mr. Blake, you hear that? He's not putting you over.
I gave him his logo. Remember the original logo?
No.
Oh, I put my trademark on it. Remember I put my little TJ Albin, but that's a story for another day.
Put the trademark.
You gotta
on.
try to do something with it.
Yes,
So
Did you LLC it or?
no, he probably did. But back to kind of connecting things. So it was because of the Whaling City Festival that I got over, like, to doing what I was doing.
Oh, because that was a second to last year doing it.
Yep.
You grabbed the footage for that, put over the festival. Huge.
Yep. So what I did was I sent it over to a friend of mine, Tiffany
You're
Murphy.
welcome, Whaling City Festival. Go to WhalingCityFestival.com if you like for further information.
All right.
So what was I saying? Sorry. So when I did the Whaling City Festival stuff, my friend Tiffany Murphy, who was an anchor, she told me, like, hey, you got a really good voice. Have you thought about being on air? So at the time, I was kind of fooling around with it, fooling around with it off camera. Like, okay, can I be an anchor? Did I like it? No. Can I read a script? No. I still stutter. But over time, I was able to kind of figure out different ways to reporting. So I do the digital stuff. So I do my digital stuff. I do social media reporting. What's cool about it is when it comes to social media stuff, there's a whole other range of things you can actually talk about. Me, I love to focus on entertainment, local businesses, and a couple different things in sports. I got a couple things coming out for sports as well. But when it comes to the avenues I'm trying to go with, it all has connected because of wrestling. Like I'm doing a lot of different stories, a lot of different ideas because of wrestling, and the sport is always thankless. Like, but I love to say, like, you know, I love to give to that business as much as I can, and that's really cool that I still give to the business, even I'm out of the business.
Yes, I've seen you do a lot of stories on other companies like AEW and WWE, and that's obviously opened doors for you to meet people in our business, and you know. It must be really cool that you're getting to do that avenue, even though it's not in ring. You're still part of the whole process.
I'm telling my story. A lot of people, like, the way it's going is everybody's like, oh, finish your story. Like, the biggest thing now, it's like, oh, finish your story. Me, I love telling my story.
Yes.
I love telling the story of my love for wrestling. So if I get the chance to go to an AEW show and talk to Samoa Joe, I'd love that. Next thing you know, they're telling me, hey, we want you to sit down with Eddie Kingston. Sure, I'll sit down with Eddie Kingston. I won't say no to that. Just getting sent to these different shows and different events. Not just wrestling, though. Like, for the other shows I've done, I just love it. And I love highlighting them as best I can. You know? But it's not even... the other thing I love to highlight is the local business stuff. That's the biggest thing for me. I love to highlight them because I feel like I love that underdog story. I love that underdog fight, you know? And for local businesses, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely got to support local. We kind of fast forward a little bit, but before you got to that point, you had started a journey doing your own podcast, doing some shows. Yeah. You had a little banner going. You want to talk to us about CTW?
Yeah, so CTW was Cheap Talk Wrestling. I hosted that podcast for, I want to say it was like 2 years with a company called The Daily Goat. Why are you giving me tissues?
Just if you need them, it's all right. I know it's emotional.
Christ.
That was emotional for you.
See, that ain't emotional for me. No, like, look, at the time I loved CTW. It was everything. I created it. I was able to work with buddies Brandon Carr, Dylan Sariva, Jake Golding, Jason Pombo, all those guys, especially with the Daily Goat. They gave me that platform to talk about wrestling on a weekly basis. And what it does, it's also a stepping stone. I always knew that when it came to CTW, that wasn't going to pay my bills. Or I knew that wasn't going to, get me to the, not going to be like that top tier platform. There's always that step to the next thing. Yeah. Like with wrestling, you always want to get to that dream.
Next, yes.
So that's how I kind of look at it, is that this was a stepping stone for me to get to the next thing. And I love where I'm at right now because of that platform that I started with CTW.
So you started it. You did the podcast for 2 years. You had a vision to do these live tapings for a wrestling show. Do you see it coming back at some point, or do you? Is it done, or?
Never say never.
Okay.
Never say never. I would love to bring it back. I'd love to try to do the podcast and stuff again. But right now, I'm really focused on doing my stuff with ABC6, doing my digital stuff, focusing on the social media, building my name, building up TJ, not CTW. I want to focus on those two letters, T and J.
Okay.
So speaking of Channel 6, we're in the Rhode Island market.
Yep.
They are typically not known for being in the top slot in the market, right? A lot of changes, a lot of growth, which in your case, you jump an opportunity.
Absolutely.
So how does that feel? That you see the position. What are you guys 3 or 4?
3.
Okay, you're 3 on the market. Typically 10 and 12. They go back and forward.
Right.
How do you use that every day? Are you to get viewership, to do the grind?
I'll take it from my perspective. When it comes to the opportunity they're giving me, they didn't have to give me the opportunity. But because of a kid just asking for a chance, it grew into something else. And it grew into me doing my digitals. I was originally a technical media operator that works behind the scenes. Now, I'm not supposed to be on camera. But because of me opening my mouth and because I wanted to take the opportunity, I was able to grow myself and grow my branding, which I'm very happy for. So when it comes to ABC6, they've given me that opportunity to grow myself. But they also are willing to give people that opportunity to grow at their own pace. Do some people choose to? That's theirs, But me, I decided to. I want to grow as an individual here because I feel like this is somewhere I want to be. And that's what I love about it is that they gave me that opportunity.
So do you feel that you could be a difference maker for them to gain market share? And
I hope to be. I don't like it. We are where we are, right? But nothing's going to change overnight. But over time, it could. Never say never to that.
Well, the thing in my opinion is that you have the social media, the digital stuff. Yep. That's the next thing. It's already here.
Exactly.
So moving on forward, if you're not transferring over to digital media and social media and all that stuff, then you're gonna be left out in the past. And I think that you got a head start by doing all the stuff that you're doing, targeting just the digital market.
Thank you.
It's an advantage and a plus there in that avenue. Let's get into a little bit of wrestling talk. I know you said you still follow it.
Yeah.
Usually we talk showcase. Now I want to mix it up because you've gone to other shows and you're watching some of the stories now with the WWE.
Yep.
I assume we're a couple weeks away from WrestleMania. We've seen The Rock come back into the scenario and everybody's like little schoolgirls now. They're excited. Wrestling's cool again. What's your opinion on what's going on right now with that product?
When it comes to the product now, it's the hottest it's ever been. When you look at where they've been, this is a year where I could say I can't tell what's going to happen at WrestleMania because every year I feel like you could tell where they're going with the story. Last year you knew it was Cody Rhodes' story. You knew all the angles that they were going. This year, I think in mid-February we kind of had that idea of where they're going with the product, which is pretty cool to kind of say we don't know where this story's going to go. With same thing with even with the Intercontinental title, it's big. The mid-card titles are getting the mainstream.
Again. Yes. Yeah.
And that's what I like about Triple H, Paul Levesque's standing when it comes to the mid-card titles. It's really cool to kind of see them on the main stage, not just as Friday night or a Monday night kind of. You know,
Right.
they're finally putting him over.
Here's a belt, you got a belt, okay, cool, but it goes nowhere. Now it's, again, relevant, especially the IC title, like you said,
Yeah.
which was the workhorse title, and we're seeing that again, which is pretty cool. Have you seen some of the new stuff going on, Blackheart?
I have.
You know,
Usually when I get back from the showcase for Wrestling Training Center on Monday, usually about 10:17, 10:23, depending on the night.
Yeah.
I saw the ending of was it Bronson and Sammy?
Yep. That was, like I said, I actually didn't even bring up what you said with social media being the game changer for everything. Look at what WWE is doing right now, focusing on X or Twitter as WWE Speed, 3-minute matches for a championship now. They're building into social media.
Yeah.
And look at the deal for next year for WWE. They're going to Netflix.
Netflix, yeah.
The game is changing when it comes to being a cable provider. Social media is now becoming a place where everybody can watch wrestling. Hell, I don't even pay for pay-per-views anymore. I just look at that, trying to find clips for certain matches.
You watch clips.
You know?
Yeah, so
that's what social media does. It's instant.
So definitely, there you go, because Blackheart 3-minute matches, on social media, targeted, for people that are on the go. You don't have to sit there and watch a 20-minute match. What you're getting.
So you want to do a segment? Actually, some of the kids were asking about, doing special tapings down at the school. Like we were doing before, like the segments. Do you want to? WWE does 3 matches. 3 minutes.
Yeah.
we don't want to steal their thunder, but
that's essentially that's what it is. When you go to like one of these tryouts or you go and work in front of anybody that's working for that company, usually you get a 3-minute match. So they're only implying the recipe that they use to look at talent and to search for talent is a 3-minute match that they look for. So this is something that they've been doing for a long time. It's just,
I see a new segment coming. Gotta
you
call Mr. Hollywood.
you stealing stuff, Chris Black?
No,
You're borrowing stuff?
We're borrowing. We're modifying.
It's gonna go 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
2-minute matches.
No,
2 minutes.
He's gonna go 2:47.
Yeah, we'll call it the married match. How's that?
2:47. The TBS.
No, 3
special.
minutes. No, if they're doing, we could do that. 3 minutes. 4:04. 5:05. That'd be silly, right? No, but I think the idea. Ironically, which day weren't you here? Monday? No, you were there Monday. You weren't there Tuesday. Whatever day it was.
Training Tuesday, I wasn't there.
Yeah, so that's when the kid's like, hey, and I'm looking at him like, man, it's going to be rough, man, because you guys, we have a lot of new guys. It's funny, the new guys always want the camera in front of them, where the new guys should be running away from the camera because they don't have the skills. They have the enthusiasm, which is phenomenal, but half of our job is not putting people out there when they don't look good, and...
That's the other thing.
Can we call that the TJ segment?
You want to call it the TJ?
The ABC 6 moment. How was that?
How about all about clicks? There you go.
Yep.
There you
All
go.
about
AB.
who?
All about clicks.
All about clicks.
All about the clicks.
How about the clicks?
Yeah, you're clicking.
Alright.
You gotta click.
Yeah, there you go. You're welcome.
Take it.
So
You
those
say
who are
notes.
listening right now, if you have a name for that segment, put it out there.
Yeah, on the
Right,
comments.
all about the
we
clicks.
got. And speaking, I don't want to go into a cheap plug, but I'll take.
Oh, come on. You're stealing my thing.
I gotta steal.
God damn it, kid. You're killing me.
I gotta borrow, kid. Speaking of that, I think we're 13 away from 1,000. 14. Is that what it is? 14 away from 1,000.
So all the friends that TJ's,
Yeah.
you've had 14 friends in your lifetime, right?
I probably got less.
Well, no, not
I'm
people who
kidding.
liked you, just friends.
Oh.
Well,
No, I got a lot of people.
people that are watching and maybe are tuning in the first time because TJ's here today with us, click on that subscribe channel on the subscribe button on the channel so that we could get to 1,000 and we could bring some content live from YouTube. That's the
we're
goal.
very newsworthy. Like we do fresh, raw,
He's over here trying to get
fresh,
pitching
raw,
ideas. Yeah.
weekly footage.
He did some real studying on me.
Yeah,
He did a lot of it.
yeah. He's,
Studying
About
on ya.
ABC, on the ABC, bringing up the
come on.
market.
yeah. He went on Google before.
He went-
No, I
Google?
didn't.
You wanna-
I noticed a sign like 2 weeks ago when I was
Yeah.
driving by. You guys had a new sign there, and I know I asked you about some of the behind-the-scene business stuff.
Yep.
Because last time we talked, you say some stuff can be moving.
Yeah.
That's how you learn, man.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I think it's ironic because you're not the only one who has said that wrestling is to prepare them for various ventures in life.
Absolutely.
And which is awesome because people think wrestling. What is that ever going to do? It gives you skills you don't even know how they translate.
Exactly.
You know?
That's my thing is that like I conquered my own fear because of being shy. You know, when I was younger, I was shy.
What about the dark? You still,
Still
fear the dark?
No.
No, which is ironic. You were shy, but
now with this, it's like now with wrestling, with everything I'm doing, it's like I just get over it. And that's the cool thing too is to give you an example, I was at Tribute to the Troops for WWE.
We were too.
Yeah, I know. I saw it.
We should tell you some stories.
What about that night or just in general?
Oh, in general. He asked for some stories and I couldn't ask him. I didn't want to tell him.
All right.
So maybe after here.
We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that.
They could be newsworthy.
Anyway, so I'm at the show, and what's the big thing about wrestling is the signs. So one thing I did last year, and I'll get into Tribute to the Troops, is what I did for WrestleMania last year. I brought a sign with me that says, "Who wants to be on the news?" Now, a lot of people looked at me like, "You're on the news, but you're holding up a sign." I'm like, "Yeah, and I want you guys to sign it." So I did it at WrestleMania last year, both nights, and I also did it at Raw. I think it was like a month before, just because like everybody knows. Okay, when you go to wrestling, you bring a sign with you. Some people bring a sign with them. I brought a sign with me just to say, "Hey, do you want to come on the news for 30 seconds to a minute?" And then with Tribute to the Troops, what I was doing was connecting with the wrestling audience by just yelling, "Yeah!" Like, what's the big thing going right now? Yeah. Dummy, like stuff like that. Like, "Oh, you want to talk? Let me talk to you." You know, stuff like that. Attaching myself to them, like saying, "Okay, I'm not just a reporter, but I'm also a fan. So let me talk to the fan." Because you get those people that are like diehard fans, but then you also have those people that are the casual fan that's like someone that you want to talk to. Like, especially with Tribute to the Troops that night, like in Providence, that was a big deal. Like with this, with Tribute to the Troops being in Providence, and then having the Army-Navy game, just having that whole weekend collide and work together. That was one of the best weekends I had for reporting stuff because I was able to connect on on a sports basis and also the entertainment side of the business.
How was that Army-Navy game? You got to work down there and do a report there and some interviews and stuff. How was that?
Oh, it was great. All the tailgating I went to, all the walking around. I didn't get to go to the game because I had to work later. Because like I said, not only do I do the on-air stuff, but I also direct. So they asked me to direct one of the newscasts, which I was able to put myself up on. I was able to be a part of the news, but also make the news, which is really cool. But yeah, to talk to all these different people, the tailgaters, playing cornhole, having a hot dog with some people, having a couple of drinks, having a couple of sodas, a couple of waters with people, just to talk to them, just to talk about like why they're here, what they're doing. And I went all over Gillette Stadium, and then even to the other side of Gillette Stadium, closer to some of the local businesses that were hosting tailgates. It was really amazing to see the big turnout for this big game, like America's game, which was really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Interesting stuff there. Is there? If I'm not mistaken, that's the World Cup. Some of the World Cup games are going to be at Gillette this year, right?
2026. I know they're coming around. They'll be around at Boston Stadium, which is weird that they're calling it Boston Stadium. No advertisement to Gillette, which is really cool. So I'm actually excited for that too. A lot of different things are coming around. That's the one thing. That's the one big thing with me. I want to focus on the entertainment stuff because you get that real passionate person. I love covering. Best story I did was the Harlem Globetrotters. Talking to all the kids about like watching basketball, this high speed game. It's just amazing. Like, and just watching them from their eyes, like listening to them, talking to them, it's really cool.
Good.
Yeah.
Chris Blackheart.
You know what else is cool? If you ever want to live your dream, go to showcasewrestling.com. SP Wrestling training Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights from 6:30 to 9:30. You can live your dream just like TJ did. And many others. And it is WrestleMania season, so some people, we get a lot of inquiries. Come on down. We do have, again, this week, I know we have a couple people coming down because of WrestleMania. Get in, get going. Do not just think about it. Do not just be inspired to watch it in a week and a half. Be inspired to do it because it's the best thing you'll ever do.
Cheap plug there, huh?
What a cheap plug. What a cheap plug.
He sneaked that one in there, but... speaking of WrestleMania, there's going to be a lot of events out in the Philly area. You're going to be down there?
I am. I will be. I'm actually talking to a couple, I'll give you guys the inside scoop. I'm going to be doing some coverage down there for a couple different stories. One big thing I'm going to be covering is the economic impact for an event like this. Last year I did a story for what if New England was to host WrestleMania, which is true. It's the company that started in New England has only hosted a WrestleMania, I want to say twice, Boston and in Connecticut.
Yep.
For I think it was 14, and I think
It was 98, I think.
Yeah.
It was the Shawn Michaels and Steve Austin one, right?
Yep, Shawn Michaels, Steve, and I want to say it was WrestleMania 11.
When Lawrence Taylor and Bam Bam Bigelow, that was the one in Hartford, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, is that you have a company that's built its history around New England, only hosting it twice around here. And you look at, I did the study, it's like comparing to a Lincoln Financial Field to a Gillette Stadium. The only difference is Gillette Stadium has, I think, close to 2,000 more seats.
Yeah, it's bigger. Yep.
Yeah. Versus like a Philadelphia crowd, which again, Philadelphia is a great market for wrestling. It's a big market city. If you were to look at like the markets for news and all that stuff, they rank, I want to say, in the top 10.
Yeah.
Versus like a Providence or a Boston. Boston, I think, is ranked in the top 5. But you look at Providence, I think it's 52. But still, either way, not looking at those numbers, looking at the numbers of the fan bases. You look at all the impact that they could have on local businesses, local promotions. And that's what I'm looking to do, is talk to these local promotions that are surrounding not only Philadelphia, but also New Jersey. Because I think it's only a 40-minute drive.
Right across the bridge in Camden, New Jersey. So it's right over. Last town before you hit the Ben Franklin Bridge is Camden, New Jersey, and you're right there next to the stadium. So.
It's huge. It's going to be a huge weekend.
Yeah.
And from what I've seen from all the from what I've seen from different news productions, everything like that, there's going to be a bunch of different shows running at different spots, different VFWs. The old ECW arena is going to be running a couple different shows. Yeah. Promotions are actually coming together to build one big show. So it's pretty cool to kind of see all these different businesses coming together and building this big weekend. From what I've connected with, there's a couple of companies from, I believe, Atlanta, Georgia, and North Carolina actually coming up to be a part of this weekend. Yeah. So you not only are you affecting the market in Philadelphia, but you're also having companies coming out of market, coming into Philly.
To profit from the benefits of the event being there, which is cool. You know, you get to meet a lot of people from a lot of different walks and different countries, and you know, the last couple of WrestleManias I've made the trip up. I saw you last year. You know, I'm sure I'll see you again this year. Chris Blackheart, I don't know, he's cheap. He doesn't want to make the trip, but
you're gonna make the drive? Come on, kid, you're killing me.
He's waiting for the Boston. He's waiting for Foxborough.
Yeah, waiting for Boston to come by. It's funny. Showcase for Wrestling is a live event business. I'm just not a live event person when it comes down to going and seeing it.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Oh, but yet you go to Tribute to the Troops.
No, there's a story behind this.
What do you mean?
So we were hanging out. We were all supposed to meet there because we had some of our students that were booked for the event as extras. So we all decided we were gonna go there and then afterwards go out to eat, you know, a little celebration or whatnot. He decided to skip the show and go straight to the celebration and meet us at the restaurant. So
So we went there. They were sold out, which they weren't supposed to, but with the game. And and then there was inflated tickets.
Here we go.
What were they? What was the ticket? They went from like, I don't know, $35 tickets to $170.
Yeah.
And then they just went to an entrepreneur.
I don't know. Jay Hollywood happened to know some of the people that had
a couple of tickets,
and we went
they
to
only
the
had
booth.
3, and there was 4 of us.
What happens?
So what I did, I said, hey.
It was 2. It was 2. If it would have been 3, you would have been up there with us.
Not for that price, it wasn't.
Well,
so you took the bullet?
Nope. So what I did, I said, hey, let me go, because it was a Christmas party for my kids' softball team. Yep. So I said, hey, I'll meet you at the restaurant later. So I went down. My wife is so happy. That doesn't happen all the time, as you know. That I made the drive down to Warwick, and I saw the place, and in true wrestling fashion, I walked in there, started looking at the ceilings, see if I could book a show there. And then after the show, we went and we had drinks, had a good time, you know.
But originally, he wasn't too fun about going in, regardless. He'd rather go to the restaurant than go to the show. That's just...
For 170.
No, even if it
When
was.
they were $50, I'm like, okay, I'll pay 50, because I was excited because we had potentially 5 guys that were potentially going to be on there.
Yep.
That came down to, what, 3, I think?
Yeah.
Right? So we were going to go down there as an organization. Bunch of us went down there because if our guys had anything to do, it was their first time. They did their paperwork. You know, they did the full process for the first time. So it was an exciting time for everybody, right? So we went down there and...
The old Grinch went to do the extracurricular. I mean, we did have food afterwards. It was a good time after.
Yeah, well, it wasn't a good... And did you like the show? No, because it was a TV show.
Why don't you be honest? We went through the whole Grinch Stole Christmas movie, how he took the presents, and then at the end, he was cool. That was the Chris Blackheart story. See, the story's all over.
I was a hero in Warwick when I went into that Christmas party, okay?
Wow. Like I said, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Live in Providence.
Killing me, kid.
So, TJ, going back to you, any stuff you want to get into and talk about that we haven't touched on, you know?
Well, I mean, one thing I want to talk about is how Showcase has one of the best rosters right now that I feel like they've had in a while. Mm-hmm. You got a young group of people. Mm-hmm. You got some great stories going on. You got some great talent at the top of the card. You look at D-Rex, who is a young star, now the YouTube champion. Congratulations to him. Yeah. You got Rambo, who was the former CTW champion, now the SBW heavyweight champion, which is amazing to see. So for you guys, how does it feel to kind of have that younger generation now at the top of your card?
Well, for a while, I know with me, for a while we were working towards having that new group of people that we could kind of pass the torch and see where it went. And now, like you said, we've seen some guys that are in it for the long run and that we could kind of guide in that direction and steer in that direction in front of our audience. You know, Rambo, he's a guy that definitely had, you know, the look. He had the charisma, he had, you know, the built to be a heavyweight champion, and hopefully now he takes that ball and runs with it. You know, this year's Marchiversary was targeted to the young group of guys. Like usually, you know, we bring in somebody, or you always have the older guys going in there because, you know, usually the older guys, the nostalgia and random stuff will draw some attention. But this time we had to kind of switch it up and put the ball in the young guys' hands and see where it went. And I thought they did an excellent job. I don't know, Chris Blackheart, any thoughts on that?
Well, I think one thing to give, like, we have a mixed locker room. We have a lot of veterans, guys been in the business 10, 15, 20 plus years, and we have some literally guys who've been in there for like 6 days, 6 weeks, and then we have the mixed guys a year, 3 years, 5 years. So we have a great mixture. And it's great to see a lot of times when older guys come back for, you know, they're like, hey, I want to work with so-and-so. I want to help develop so-and-so, which is huge. Locker rooms don't have that. And you know, we're building some great, you know, we're going to do a plug soon for some shows this weekend, but we are building different relationships, you know, between Mr. Vega and myself. We're building relationships with various companies and bringing in different talent based on those relationships, which is great. It's good for everybody. So we're literally coming to showcase a lot of different promotions that we're connected to, and it's good for everybody. It's good for the talent, it's good for the promotions, good for the fans.
Right.
And going back to our guys, you know, like I said, we waited for the right time to like expose a lot of homegrown talent, like guys like Christopher Spratt and Danny Cabral, and like you said, D-Rex and Rambo, and AZ's another one that's an up and comer. He's doing great. That could potentially take the ball and score with it, and that's what we're working towards. So, exciting times.
We have a couple of different tiers of guys. We have new guys. We have guys, you know, been around a little bit. We have guys that are ready to pull the trigger, you know. So, and we have some sleeper guys, you know, that I'm not sure about him. What is he doing? You know.
What do you guys look for when you, like, especially you guys, you're looking at these different looking at different kids. You talk about my journey. Let's talk about yours. You know what I mean? Like, one thing as a trainer, to see these kids come in, what is your first instinct when you see someone coming in for the first time? Like, what is your immediate thought process?
Well, for me, I'm kind of, as you know, I'm kind of a hard ass. I could be, you know.
Oh, you're soft.
I could be a jerk at times, and I'm demanding, and you know, I try to push people to their limits. I mean, I try to get the typical athlete to see if they got some type of athlete background, athletic background, and stuff like that. But sometimes, like he said, we get the sleeper guys. The ones that we get that have that athletic background and got some charisma and could potentially do something end up leaving. Then we're left with the guy that we thought was never going to make it. Mm-hmm. And that's the one that surprises us. You know, I can tell you right now that, you know, when Danny Cabral first walked into the training center, what is it now, like almost 2 years?
2.5.
Yeah. So, you know, he was one guy that I thought was going to come in for like a week and be gone. And now he's probably one of our top students. So, you know, it's a hit or a miss. But I still have hopes that we get that premier athlete that walks in the door, you know, and you teach him stuff and he picks it up right away. But it just doesn't happen.
Well, it's hard because we've had guys like that. On paper, they're checking all of the boxes. But the thing you can't teach is dedication, you know, and wrestling is tough. Right. You know, it's tough. Your body takes the abuse. And I always tell people the first 6 to 8 weeks suck, you know, because you're building the foundation and everybody, we build the same. And you can't get away from taking a bump. You can't get away from taking a buckle or running the ropes or going through it. It's hard work. And I tell everybody, how many times I tell you, kid, you going to quit today? I said, great, quit today, come back tomorrow. Because, that's the real, it will suck, but other days it's awesome. You know, it just is. But it's that balance. And I think we say more now than we ever did. You got to trust the process.
Absolutely.
There's a process, and it's not instant. Wrestling is not, as a fan, you can get instant gratification. As someone who's training, you do not. Yeah. It takes time. But the progression that we've seen recently with a lot of the guys is phenomenal, you know. And it literally, and I've been saying this too, wrestling is an individual team sport. Like Absolutely. We have a group of guys who, and it's typically guys. We do have girls that train occasionally down at the training center. But yeah, if you are a female looking to train, 126 Main Street, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from 6:30 to 9:30.
Gotta get that.
But the idea is right. When the success comes from one, the other two can see it's possible. Right. And I think that's the key part is, and you have a kid who comes in who may not be very athletic, and all of a sudden he's picking it up and he's getting it, and he's asking the questions, and these guys are getting, oh wow, I remember that. And that's the cool part too, is even the guy's been around for 2 years, you forget. Right. Well, you forget until someone else is doing it, and it just keeps building. So you should come down. We can put a GoPro on you.
Yeah, you want to put a GoPro
We
on
can do a special segment for ABC6.
Every time. Yeah. Every time. No, every time I see you, I got a good story idea for you.
Yeah.
Local reporter trains for wrestling. Let's go. With, You got to go every time. I like it. I love the stories. I love the ideas.
I wasn't talking about you.
You like.
Oh, you weren't talking about me.
You like the consistency.
I like the consistency.
Every time. Yeah. Every time I see you on the street, I got an idea for you.
Yeah.
I'm at Tribute to the Troops.
I gave you some
ideas. See you.
I gave you some ideas.
I got some ideas
about politics, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm not sure about that.
See, that's my thing though. Is that like, and they've asked me this at my work. They've asked me if I want to do like full-time reporting. Yeah. I always tell them no. Yeah. Because I want to focus on the entertainment stuff. Look, I'll put it like this: you guys have an hour to a half-hour news, right? That's just full of these like negative things. What about 90 seconds to a minute? It's just something positive that's upbeat that you can also maybe kind of relate to, or just someone's underdog story. Like these local businesses, they're underdog stories, but they're also very passionate about what they do. When I was able to do Pizza Week, going to these 5 different pizza places, I just loved it. It was just the fact you get to see their passion, you know, like you see with the wrestling, you see that passion come out. It's different, but it's also the fact of you're still seeing it no matter what being poured into it. When you're doing a move, when you're practicing this, when you're performing the art of wrestling, you're seeing that passion being put out there. Same thing with these guys when I was doing the Pizza Week, going into the dough, putting like the sauce on it, working on the sauce, the amount of hours it takes for them to like build the perfect pizza, how their recipe works. So that was kind of cool to kind of see that and to be able to highlight them and give them that highlight. So I love doing that stuff.
What about local businesses with the slight bridge issue we're having? Have you thought about doing that?
I have.
To have highlight, because I heard something, I think it was on the news today, I think it was Smiley, was on the radio, and they mentioned about something, people were talking about ideas, I think Dan York had it too, talking about different ideas of how to really showcase some of these struggling business because of it, and you could actually possibly have a good segment to help.
Well, it's funny that I did do a story on that actually right after the bridge. There's a website for local business to apply to, and actually they can post the stuff online. If you guys go to TJ Albin 1, and I'm going to do a cheap plug right now, might as well take up his time.
Plug
TJ Albin 1, if you go to my link, there's a story for shop. It's like Shop Local Businesses RI. I forget what the exact website was, but I remember like I was going over my interview about wanting to highlight them because I feel like that's going to affect it. Like especially with the bridge, everything that's going on right now with the bridge, it's going to affect a lot of different people. You know, so what's the best thing you can do? Try to find alternatives to get to that local business. Yes, you can go to Walmart, you can go to Target, but what about these local businesses that are trying to get your attention? You know. So that's what I try to focus on, is trying to highlight them, help them build their story.
You're going to be awesome. Thanks for the idea. We should be doing some summer shows, spring shows coming up in East Providence for Showcase Pro Wrestling.
There we go.
All right?
So
if you're a local business or an organization on there and you want to do some shows to literally highlight all your ABCs and your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6s,
you're on a
cheap
roll
plugs.
tonight, man. Cheap plugs. And speaking of cheap plugs, since you want to talk about shows, we're gearing up for our next event that it will be on April the 12th. You want to talk about that one there?
Blackstone Valley Tech, BVT, up in Upton, Massachusetts. It's roughly about 40 minutes from Providence. Is a fundraiser for the class of 2025. That is Friday night, April 12th, 7 o'clock bell time. Tickets are available up to the Wednesday before at showcaseprowrestling.com. Our friend is coming back again, Mr. John Cena Sr. He will be bringing his now famous, soon to be more famous, whoopie pies.
Yes. Cena makes whoopies.
Cena makes whoopie.
We gave him.
Yeah, you want to use that for? Actually, that's a good story at local business.
John?
Yeah, John helping out one of his with the whoopie pies.
Well, you know what's funny? When I was doing my story up in Boston for TD Garden my first time.
You saw Cena making whoopie?
No. I was sitting right behind. I was sitting a couple rows back from him. I sent him a text saying, "Hey, can you come on the news? Can you come on the story for me?" And I kid you not, he just went right into a promo.
Yeah.
Right into a promo. Yeah, and I'm like, John, I just need you saying something. But he's like, so I'm just standing right next to him, almost like a selfie, and he's taking a video. He's like, "Be there, WrestleMania." I'm like, what are you doing? I'm trying to use this for the news. I still use the clip because I'm like, I'm not going to not use it now. Because the original story is about John Cena returning to Boston, the first time since right before COVID. So I was like, all right, you know what? Maybe I can try to tie it in. And I said, all right, you know what? Let me text his dad. I was with a buddy of mine who was helping me out with the video. And I texted him. I said, "Hey, John, can you come on the news?" Absolutely. So I saw him after the show. He did the thing. It was just hilarious. Just to hear him just say WrestleMania.
He definitely gets into
You can't see me, but you can see you. I'm like, what is going on?
John definitely gets into it.
He does.
He will be there April 12th in Upton, Mass. Then we return to the Showcase Pro Wrestling Training Center and Arena April 13th in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, 126 Main Street. That is a Friday night, 7:47 p.m. bell time, right? Am I right on that one?
No, you're... Saturday. That's a Saturday,
Jesus
so 7:07.
Jesus Christ. This is see, Danny? This is what he does
It's usually Friday normally is 7:47. Saturday is 7:07.
Can I ask you while we have this little outlet, why 7:47? Why 7:07?
Because if I said 7 o'clock at 7:30, we would not be having this conversation, would we? And do you remember when you were little TJ? I know you never were, but with TV Guide with Turner.
Yeah.
So Turner had 6:05, right?
Yep.
So what happened was, his theory was, you had a show at 6, 6:30, and 7.
Yep.
And on TV Guide, when he was 6:05, he had this whole area that was grayed out.
Yeah.
So when he got free advertisement, in theory, right?
Yeah.
Plus, he had a lot of shows that are reruns, like Andy Griffin, all those.
Right.
So what happens is you're clicking the clicker, and then by the time 2 or 3 minutes you know what to watch. Well, this just started. I'll watch this. So when we started, I just wanted a gimmick because I grew up watching.
Yeah, Chris Walker just like the NWA, he like WCW.
So it's the yeah, okay.
So
And that's why.
Okay.
That's why
the fact that you actually ask is why we do it.
that time.
Yeah.
And actually, a couple months ago, or a month or two ago, Crockett did a thing on his page that he has, and he was always intrigued about the start time. So it definitely, as crazy as it might seem, it stands out. People are like 7:47, 7:07. Shit, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, then we feel like we're doing a 2 o'clock show would be 2:02, for 3 o'clock 3:03, because it just
works.
Yeah, and again, you don't question it because it
Right.
isn't.
So there you have it, the 13th, Saturday night, 7:07 p.m. bell time in Woonsocket. That will take us on to the following week as RCW returns to Peabody, Massachusetts. Actually debuts in Peabody, Massachusetts. Saturday night, 7 p.m. bell time with a suicidal legend, ECW zone. Sabu will be in the house. It's going to be a great card. Tickets are on sale now at Royal Crown. I was going to say the other stuff. You see? You get me all.
I have to write down.
RoyalCrownWrestling.com for tickets. They're available online right now. They'll be available at the door in Peabody. Saturday night, April 19th, 7 p.m. bell time. And then the next night, we're back.
Friday night, April 19th.
What?
Yeah.
That's
and then Saturday the 20th, we're in Taunton.
Christ.
You're off.
You wrote all this crap.
Right, that's your writing.
No, okay, Chris Blackheart.
All right, then Saturday night, we're back in Taunton. We're going to be announcing the card in the format for a special event on the 20th hour return. We do have an event coming up this weekend with one of our new sister promotions that we're starting to team up with, the USWF down in Connecticut. Danny, do you have that flyer you want to put up?
Yep.
All right, let's put that up there.
You got the right date for that one?
It is this Saturday, March 30th, right before Easter, with a bell time of 7 o'clock.
Oh, not 7:07.
Yeah, not 7.
Well,
That's 7:07.
That's how you know I didn't book it. So.
Yeah. So that's this weekend, and there's the information now on screen. 7 p.m. bell time on that show there, and then like you said before we moved on, the 20th we're back in Taunton, Massachusetts at the BFW Hall. Road to the Gold. Big one-night tournament to determine the number one contender at the Showcase Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Championship, which is held by the notorious undefeated Rambo Godfrey. Who will be the number one contender? There's only one way to find out, and that is Taunton BFW Hall, April 20th in Taunton.
And that is a Saturday with a bell time of
go ahead,
7:07.
man.
Advanced tickets
Even Hogan screwed up, all
are
right?
available at
WrestleMania.
ShowcaseProWrestling.com right now.
This is a highlight of the whole podcast.
Hey, we all have off nights, you know. And
It happens.
It's raining.
Sorry, sir.
sorry.
Sorry.
You still do that? Or?
No.
He got over that, man.
Yeah,
He got over the shyness.
Sorry to be sorry.
He's
God damn
sorry,
it,
not
kid.
so sorry.
You guys are killing me with this.
So
I do it one. I apologize one time. No, it was a one time. Sorry.
One
It was a
time,
bunch of different
one
times.
time,
One time,
one
like
time.
20 minutes of it.
One time for 2 years.
One time, like 50 times. But TJ, man, if you got any plugs you want to get out there to the people watching and listening,
Yeah, tell us the story. What story do you want to do right now that people don't know about, and then you need help to get people for the content?
I keep bringing it up. Local businesses. That's my big thing. I want to connect with them. If there are local businesses that you want me to highlight that you think would want to benefit from it, please hit me up at TJ Albin 1 on all social medias. And I'm assuming my Instagram is up right there. Are you following? You better be following. There's no follow that. What are you doing to me? You're killing me.
you're killing
Anyway,
kid.
you're killing me, kid. Follow me at TJ Albin 1. Message me, DM me, please. All my social media is right there. You can also check out some of my interviews. I interviewed Eddie Kingston recently. Samoa Joe. Actually coming up, I'm actually interviewing the Mass Pirates, the IFL, the Indoor Football League's new team. Well, not new, sorry, new to Lowell. So I'm actually traveling up there later on this weekend. So I'm excited to cover them and do that. But I really want to focus on highlighting those local businesses as best I can.
So where's our pizza?
No pizza for you.
What do you want to build local sports teams with new coaches? I know some people.
We'll talk after the show.
Perfect.
We'll talk after the show.
Indeed, man.
But yeah.
It's definitely, if you have business, you want your story out, contact TJ, follow him on his social media. Yeah. It's been a blast, man. We got to do this more often.
Hell yeah.
Oh, don't worry. We're going to stay a little bit longer off the air. We have some good stories.
Yeah.
You were asking
Chris
for.
Blackheart's going to give you more ideas.
No, I won't give you any more ideas.
Hey, I mean, it's always good to get those ideas.
Yeah.
I appreciate them. I love and appreciate. I love the conversation with you guys. I always love coming back.
You know, it's funny how wrestling brings you together, and even though you're not involved, we can still literally run into each other and have conversations or texts out of the blue. So it's good, and you don't always have that with people. You know, you've always been a good guy, and see you grow from being that kid who came to wrestling school from college, and to develop to what you are and doing what you love, which is awesome. Not people can say that.
I appreciate that.
That's definitely cool, man. It was great to have you on. It was great catching up.
Hell yeah.
You know, sharing some lives. I know Chris Blackheart always trying to be a smartass, but that's for another episode, maybe next week. But for now, that's all we have for tonight. Make sure you go follow him at TJ Albin. Say it again.
At TJ Albin 1. Make sure you follow me there at TJ Albin 1, or check me out for ABC6 at ABC6 Providence. And you can also download the new Now Local News app, where you actually can gain points by submitting to the Now Local News app. All you have to do is use your camera, download the app. You can also catch me on. You can catch that link for the Now Local News app in my bio. So you can download the app and get points for what you submit. It's really cool. It's actually pretty cool. You can actually submit pictures. If you're outside, like especially with the rain right now, you can submit just rain stuff. Like videos of the rain, wherever you're doing, whatever you're watching, submit it and get points for it. If it goes on the news, you get money. You get a gift card for it.
Oh, there you go, man.
Yeah, there you go. Check out the Now Local News app for ABC6 Providence.
Oh, there you go. You know, this is all we got for this week. Make sure you subscribe. We were 14 away from the big 1,000, so let's get that done before next week. But for this week, that's all we have. I am Don Vega. This is the boss, Chris Blackheart, for the Showcase Pod. TJ Albin, we're out. We'll catch you down the road.